first time I ever got on a boat, I was 8 years old, and my mum took me along to local place Stirling University, just next to where I lived, where they were running a BCU 1-star course, which was 5 hours spread over 5 days, so an hour a day, and learned to paddle forwards, backwards, did a capsize drill, and rafted up and ran along the back of the rafted up boats, and that was kind of the introduction.
Okay.
Well, it was a bit slow from there because it was an entire 12 months till I got in a boat for the second kind of period, which was another course run by the council, just the slightly more advanced one. It was the 2-star, and started doing more and more of these courses, going to pool sessions, learned to Eskimo roll. Then when I was 11, I joined a canoe club, which I've always been a member of, still am, Sea Cats in central Scotland, and they were a slalom specific club, and that was just happened to fall into the fact it was slalom. You know, I didn't know anything about slalom or have a desire to do slalom beforehand, but I was immediately taken by the competitive nature of it. I liked the individual sport. I was into quite a few other sports, kind of rugby was my main thing at the time, but I quite liked the idea of having entire responsibility for my performance and not having to rely on teammates having good days as well. It kind of didn't go down too well with my personality, so I immediately just enjoyed slalom and kind of went from there. I think it's greater. The level of expectation is much higher. I think the public are really into it, which is good, but they also expect very, very high levels. They expect Great Britain to do better than other countries when, the other countries train really hard too and put loads of money investing into those performances, and they want the gold medals as well. And there's lots of people want the gold medals, and only one person or team is ever going to get them. And I think sometimes the expectations are a little bit unrealistic. At the same time, it is nice to be in the public eye and be appreciated for what you do and raise the profile of the sport. First of all, the Lee Valley Whitewater Centre here behind me is great. It's a really good facility, and not just the whitewater course, but the kind of whole thing of having a terrace up at the top, a cafe, changing rooms, boat racks, and it's a good environment to train in. The GB senior squad, the Olympic targeted squad, is all training here, and that's an advantage in that it's a difficult course, technical whitewater, and the more you practice on it and the more you become comfortable with that level of water and learn the specific features can only be a bonus help. There's no guarantee of us clean sweeping the gold medals or anything, but it will probably statistically improve our results. On the other hand, there is that feeling of kind of at the games time, the fact that it's a homes games might not be to our advantage, because I kind of just anticipate sitting on the start line just there, about to go, and there just being an immense amount of noise, because most of the people in the crowd are going to be British, and they'll probably be shouting and crazy, and it's the kind of sport where you need to relax and really concentrate, and distractions aren't good, and there's going to be an awful lot of distractions, so that's one of the disadvantages of a home games. I think might be great for a more aggressively, people that are used to it in sporting arenas, football matches, rugby matches, but I think for us it could be a distraction to deal with. So training throughout the year will vary depending on time of year, what kind of you're focusing on, and whether it's coming up to competitions or at the moment it's end of November in what we call winter training. Competitions don't even start up domestically till March. Olympic trials are in mid-April here, so that's the main focus, what I'm targeting. Weekly training schedule at the moment is 13 training sessions a week, of which 3 of them are weight training in the gym, 2 of them endurance sessions on the flat water, just quite simply 1 hour endurance paddling to build up a base, 2 cross training, which are either running or cycling, generally an hour or more each, and then all the other ones are on the whitewater here, mostly of a technical nature, really trying to hone boat positioning, paddle placement, running the boat nicely. There's so much time to be made up by skipping over all those waves well, and knowing them well.
Slalom kayaking, what would you say is the most important muscle group?
Without a doubt, it's upper body generally, but that doesn't just mean your arms. It has to be connected through the core muscles and your stomach, abs, lower back, even glutes, because you're locked in the boat, and just being able to yank with your arm isn't any good if you then flex through your body. You've got to be really locked in and rotate and lock in and pull on that. And be well balanced with it as well, because if you're trying to crank it round an upstream gate and you lose your edge slightly, the boat will just die. So generally upper body. Well, over the years I've done a lot of Olympic lifting, clean and jerk, snatch and variations of that. But I've got a bit of a niggling long-term back injury. It's not even an injury, it's aggravated just from training for so long. And so to take the pressure off that, I've actually stopped doing Olympic lifts. I probably would do if it hadn't been for that. And I do more classical weight training, quite a lot of body weight stuff, loaded body weight, so chin-ups with extra added weight, dips with added weight. A new interesting thing is rope climbing. Okay. So like kind of primary school gym ropes, like hands only, up to the top, back down under control, 10 seconds rest, repeated efforts on that kind of thing. It's a long way. Do they realise?
Don't know that it's been thought through yet.
How many miles is it going to be? Do you know?
2,200.
2,200? Yeah, that is a long way. Talk about the boat. There's not too many regulations. There's a minimum length of 3 meters 50, and I believe this boat is 3 meters 50, and a minimum width of 60 centimeters. And again, this is 60 centimeters. And other than that, the only other regulation is it has to be 9 kilograms, which generally we get them made less than 9 kilograms because the lighter is better for the accelerations and the ease of turning. And then put some lead weight in under the seat where the centre of gravity is, and the ends are still light, so you can twitch it and turn it easily still, even though it's better to have that than a boat that's 9 kilos with the weight spread evenly. Yeah. You can see it's carbon fibre on the outside, some carbon Kevlar on the inside. If you make it entirely out of carbon, it tends to be a bit brittle. Out there on the water, you tend to hit a lot of rocks or obstacles, walls, or just the power of the water. It can snap and break the boats, and if they're all carbon, it's a bit easier to break them than if they have some Kevlar in. It actually makes them a bit more resilient. Seat, pretty normal. Just kind of pad that out so I'm nice and snug in there, so I can feel what's happening on the water, and some footrests to push against, keep me in nice and tight. Yes, so these paddles are made by RAB. These are entirely carbon fibre with titanium metal tips in the end as well. So they're very lightweight. They have a crankshaft, so they have this bend in them, which is a kind of ergonomic aid. So it takes the pressure off my wrist at the front of a stroke. Also places the blade further in front of my hand of where it would be, and that's more reach, mostly useful on those by rudder strokes and out to the side of the boat as well, keep it away from the boat and easier to slice. The length, the angles, the positions of the crank rail to the braid can all be personalised when you make them up. It comes in actually 4 separate pieces and make them up to my personal preference. Pointy aid, pretty minimalistic. It's very rare I ever fall out my boat and have to actually use it as a life-saving device, and generally I'm paddling on a slalom course, which is very safe and runs out of white water by 50-100 metres later anyway. But it does still float you fine. Just as little to it as possible to allow me to get as close to the poles and maybe not get a touch in that vital, important race where I would have if it was slightly larger.